The government's new counter-extremism strategy, which Quilliam was consulted on, and which we've been calling for the last 4 years, is a new approach to tackling extremism in the UK. It tackles all forms of extremism, violent and non-violent, Islamist and far-right, online and offline. And it engages communities to tackle the narratives, the ideologies, and address the grievances that make people more vulnerable to radicalisation. In particular, I think it's great that the counter-extremism strategy centres around narrative. We know that narrative is underpinned by ideology and exploits vulnerability, whether that's improved by identity crisis or grievances or anything like that. This new focus that engages communities to tackle narratives themselves and build a stronger civil society coalition to do that is exactly the right approach. Free from the heavy hand of government, free from a national security heavy lens, and free from many of the mistakes that have been made in this area over the last decade. Mentioned later on in the strategy are various elements which will come in the counter-extremism bill later this autumn. Separate from the strategy, this bill takes a more repressive approach to tackling extremism and is more similar to the last decade's approach. For example, there are banning orders for extremists who don't quite meet the threshold of terrorists and their criminality. There are disruption orders that would prevent extremists from going onto university campuses. And there are closure orders that would close down premises if they're repeatedly used for extremism. While we identify that extremism is a real problem, we find that this does not focus on the process of radicalisation and unnecessarily reduces the civil liberties balance that is so required in tackling extremism holistically. Well, I think the most important thing now that we have a coherent, comprehensive, consistent counter-extremism strategy from the government is that we build a civil society coalition to take it forward. We know that this isn't best implemented top-down from government, but is so much better if we can build a stronger coalition as a civil society. That's going to come with Muslim communities' help. It's going to come with feminist organisations, with gay rights activists, and with universities who are all impacted by extremism. We've got to bring these people together. And therefore, as Quilliam, we call on these people to do two things. First, let's come together and oppose the counter-extremism bill for its repression and its negative measures. And then let's take this coalition and come together with positive measures so we can proactively counter extremism, reduce vulnerability, build the resilience of our communities, and tackle the ideologies that pull our communities apart. To find out more about what Quilliam's doing to oppose the counter-extremism bill and to implement the counter-extremism strategy, get in touch with us at our website www.quilliamfoundation.org or follow us on Twitter @QuilliamF.